morning. Good morning, good morning. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays to those of you who don't. Kwanzaa is tomorrow, and Hanukkah just ended, so I hope all of you are having a great holiday season. We decided to have a little practice this morning. No one's out there yet that I know of. If you pop in, please give a shout out. And I'm going to take a couple of moments to clean my glasses and see if anybody else comes in. So welcome to Sun and Moon's Yoga YouTube channel. And we're here each weekday morning from 10 to 10:30. And I'm generally here Fridays 10 to 10:30. My name is Jennifer Eubank. But today is my last day because I am going to be doing something a little different come January. And I will miss our time together on Fridays, but hopefully you'll see me from time to time, pop in. And I just want to say thank you so much for our time together. Thank you for this opportunity, Sun and Moon, and thank you to all of those of you who have been coming each week or tuning in later and watching the recordings. I really appreciate it. This has been such a tremendous growing experience for me, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss getting up on Friday mornings and doing this. My favorite thing has been coming up with all the different titles. Catchy to keep you here and keep you coming, but clear enough to let you know what we're going to be doing. And today, you know, the last few weeks I've been having flow classes, and we've been doing a lot of slow vinyasa meditative movement. And in all honesty, I was going to do that today. Ho, 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 flow. I had my title all worked out. But I am really, really tired. And in all honesty, I imbibed a little too much. I had a couple of glasses of wine last night when I was making my annual Christmas cheese straws. Really nice cheese biscuits that I made for my daughter and her boyfriend who are coming over later today. We're going to have a Scrabble marathon. And my daughter always beats me at Scrabble, so I need to get some energy and I need to get my focus so I can win Scrabble today. So I really, you know, I know that a lot of us are kind of winding down. We've been getting ready for the holidays, even though they're smaller this year, but there's still that grind, that expectation, and we tend to overextend ourselves this time of the year. And we get caught up in frenetic breath that tends to stir up our nervous system. So today's practice, what a nice, quiet yin style practice. I've lit some candles, some of which you can see, some of which you can't. It smells divine in here. And I also have my diffuser going. I have frankincense, myrrh, and turmeric, which is by the way, turmeric is thought to be the gold that the three kings brought the Jesus, the baby Jesus, Christmas morning, and frankincense, myrrh, and gold. And it's thought now that gold was actually turmeric. So I have a tradition to have those three blends going on Christmas Day, and I put some in my daughter's stocking. Don't tell her. She gets it every year. And it's a really great blend. They're all three. Turmeric is very rich and comforting, and frankincense is a classic scent to smell for meditation. It really helps comfort, calm you, and help you get focused. And myrrh is also a very comforting smell. I don't know it quite as much as the other two, but that's what I've got going on. And I'm really rambling a lot this morning. I get chatty when I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted. So let's go ahead and start with our yin style practice. I have a blanket across my mat to keep it nice and warm, and then I have another blanket, and neither of these do you need. You can just get directly on your floor or on your mat. But if you want to put a blanket for comfort, that's an idea. And then I have another one folded up that I'll use for support. And our first pose, again, we're doing all yin style poses. You can keep your socks on. I'm taking my slippers off. I'm loath to take the, cold feet. Okay, so what we do is we come down onto the floor, onto our belly, and this folded blanket is there for my upper rib cage area. And then you bring your forearms in the front on the mat, but instead of putting them side to side like we normally do in our Sphinx pose, let's put them together as if we're praying, hands together, and bring the feet as wide as the corners of your mat. So that's your general shape. Elbows bent, hands meeting together at the palms. And the blanket is underneath my upper rib cage. And again, you don't need that blanket, but it's just nice to have a little bit of extra support. And I'm careful to keep my legs strong and my glute muscles strong in the buttocks. The buttocks. So, because that helps protect my lower back. And this is a back bend. And with back bends, bring a little bit of challenge to that lower back. So it's important that you take care of your body and give it what it needs to withstand that challenge. And I'm also really pressing into my elbows and the structure that my arms and hands give in the front. That also helps protect my lower back. And it also helps kind of rev up the back of the body too. It's like the arms are working together with the legs, even though they're far away from one another. They're in cahoots. And as you settle into your structure and the stability that this pose gives you, Sphinx pose, celebrate that stability and kind of let go a little bit of your muscle tension, because to build that structure you get a little bit of tension. So once you find that structure and that tension kind of ease off a little bit, not so much that the structure collapses, you want to keep it safe, but you don't want to bring any rigidity. You don't want to add to your stress. You want to let go. That's what these yin poses are all about. We hold them a little bit longer than our normal poses because I'm having deja vu. It helps you release tension in the muscles, the joints, and also the fascia, the tissue that holds together all that inner stuff in the body. And that fascia tends to hang on to tension. And we'll spend about another minute here in this pose, maybe 2 minutes. And now that we know that we've got our structure and our stability in check, we can focus on our breath and our inner flow. Keep the mouth closed and breathe in and out through your nose. Maybe close the eyes, slightly tuck your chin and lengthen the back of Continue to press into those foundation points while you explore your breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. Notice how long they each take. Notice how one relates to the other. Notice the changes in the body shape that may occur. I say may. There's definitely something going on, some changes, but you have to really watch it to see it. You got to look for it. Kind of like that Saturn and Jupiter conjunction. You're not going to see it if you don't look for it. You don't take the time. Right. Get all the fine-tuned elements in check and not forget about them. So every now and then check into that foundation, make sure your back is safe so that you don't lose yourself in the breath. You're still aware of yourself, you're just not aware of a lot of other stuff that makes up the craziness of your life. You're setting all of that aside right now to focus on the here and the now. And as you're ready, start to back off of that breath, or back off the focused idea of that breath. And then we'll go ahead and slowly but surely press into the foundation points to bring you down, slowly but surely. So don't collapse down onto the floor. In other words, avoid collapsing out of the pose. Come out of it in a structured manner. And as you come down, put your hands under your shoulders and bring your feet closer together. And shake out your hips from side to side. And then when you're ready, push up into a table pose. And then take this blanket that you had under your ribs, if you did. And again, for this pose, you don't have to have a blanket either, but it's really nice to have it. And I'll show you a couple of more supported back bends. This one is called Sleeping Swan. I'll have to think about it. And I think I've actually done this one in this class. I'm not sure. So the blanket is there for support. It's a lot like pigeon pose. You come into your table pose, and I'm working on my left side. And from your table pose, bring the left knee or the right knee, it doesn't matter, to the same side hand. And then you bring that foot out a little bit. And then you bring the back leg down. And then you take that blanket, if you use the blanket, and you bring your hip down on the floor, or the blanket, so that hip actually comes down. In pigeon, it's up, but this is a different version, Sleeping Swan. We actually put the hip down. And find that balance and symmetry in the front with the hands and your shoulders and your chest. And the back leg can be straight, it can be bent. The back leg can do whatever it needs to do to support the structure in the front. So find stability here before you go any further. And once you've got that stability, once you know things are feeling okay, then you can start to come down, and we'll turn our flying swan more into a sleeping swan. And we can bring the forearms down to the floor first, and maybe spend a few breaths there and get used to that new height and that new structure, that change to the structure. Visit those foundation points again and take your time. And then eventually, if you can, bring the head all the way down. And if you can't bring the head all the way down to the floor, you can stack your hands and fists and put your head on the fists. or you could grab a block. I would grab a block, but mine are acting as candle stands right now. So I'm just going to use my hands here and settle in, and I'm going to find that foundation. So I'm pressing into my elbows, both knees, even though they're bent kind of in a different way, positioned differently. Find all those foundation points. And kind of like the points of a constellation. And the bones and the limbs are the lines between those constellation points. And that might help you stretch out your lines or widen your lines. Or it might help you release into those constellation points, those foundation points a little bit more, so then you can focus on your breathing. And because my leg is under my belly, I love to do belly breath in this position. As I breathe, I can feel my belly expand out, and as I inhale and as I exhale, the belly comes back in. So as I inhale, the belly actually presses up against my front leg, and as I exhale, I can feel it coming back into the back. And that helps create space in both the front of the body and the back of the body. And that helps me widen the hip joints, create more distance between those 2 points, and lengthen my constellation within my body. All from that very powerful belly breath. Good for the digestion, good for the elimination, good for the nervous system. And then as you're ready, you can back off that focused breath. And take your time and then revisit your foundation points and press into those points. And use those foundation points to leverage and stabilize your ascent. And as you come up, you can lean on that front hip and bring the hands in a place to help you bring this back leg. So it shouldn't be a struggle. Get your whole body to participate in bringing that back leg to the front. And now, if you have a blanket, you may want to switch it a little bit, just a tad, and make it more straight on, and then you can sit up on it, both sits bones on the blanket, and I'm forming the letter 4 in the front. So my back leg is now in the front, and my bent knee is still bent, and it's under that front leg, the straight leg, because that gives me more leverage. And I press this leg into that foot, and I press into my foundation points with the sits bones, and I put my hands out to the sides here and tent pull my fingers, and I press into all those foundation points, and I lift up out of them, and I find nice, gentle, but mighty breath flow. Nice big inhales and nice big exhales. That lift in the chest helps accommodate the lift of the breath, and vice versa. The lift of the breath finds the lift and the expansion in the torso. And that helps me prepare for the next part, which I'll come down. So as you're ready, press into those foundation points and hinge at your hips and keep your head and your heart lifted as they lower. So try not to roll your head forward. That can create some problems in your upper back. It can make your upper back rounded. You might want to keep it nice and flat as you come down, because that helps you come down a little bit more. And as you start to make your way down, then you'll start to lower that head and feel the upper back curve a little bit more and relax. Find your landing point, and as you're there, stay there for a few breaths and find those foundation points. Really press into it. So I'm pressing into this knee, the leg and the foot under the leg. I'm pressing into this heel. I'm pressing into those fingertips. And by the way, you can bring the hands in the front if you'd like, or you can keep them out to the sides. You decide. And try to really drop the head so that you can relax those neck muscles and your upper shoulder, or your upper back, your trapezius muscles, the muscles around the shoulders. 15 different muscles connect up into each shoulder. See if you can relax. 30 muscles. I won't go into all of them. We don't have time. Explore your breath. Nice, gentle inhales and exhales, and see what that breath does. Maybe do a few belly breaths here. Belly breath, very, very powerful for forward folds. Forward folds are relaxing and good for digestion and elimination. Same with that belly breath. So you enhance one another as you add them together. And that belly breath also can help release lower back tension. I have found it to be very powerful to create space in that lumbar spine. You might be really sore from chores from the holidays, getting ready, cooking, baking. So when you're ready, press into your foundation points to lift your head, and continue to press into those foundation points as you rise up. So press, press, press. I'm really actively pressing this leg into this foot as I come up. And so my back feels like butter. I've gone through 3 pounds of butter in the last 3 days. Okay. Alrighty, let's do it on the other side and then we'll finish up. So come into your table. Put the blanket on the other side if you use the blanket. When the new knee comes to the same side hand, and then you walk that foot out a little bit, and the back foot starts to creep away, and that brings you down. Find that stability before you lean back on that hip. Go ahead and come down on that front hip. Nestle into that, and as you nestle in, that back leg probably wants to bend to accommodate that, and that's fine. Find that foundation in the front as well. Everything feels good in this first prototype. For me at least. And now I'm ready to start my descent. And I'm careful not to just plop down. I build my descent. And my landing is much more comfy and makes more sense. And then I can do some real good quality work here to get ready to go even further. So that's what helps me come down further. Acclimatizing bit by bit, not rushing it, and breathing through each stage. And I'm nursing a right hip injury, so I'm definitely can't bring my head all the way down on this side either. So once you find the structure, visit those foundation points, make sure that it's good and well maintained. And then release and breathe and explore your inner flow. Find that ocean wave of breath. Feel how the body changes shape as you inhale and as you exhale. And perhaps you can bring more breath into it to bring more of a shape change. And what does that shape change do? me, I've noticed that each time I breathe in my belly, that my hip joints where the legs meet the torso, they kind of separate. They get further away from each other. That's been a very powerful experience for me. So let's go ahead and back off of that breath. Find that foundation and press into those foundation points to acclimatize you back up. Slowly come up. Avoid rushing your exit. And as you avoid rushing your exit, you avoid injury, and you pay attention to all the little details, all the little things that are happening along the way. And those are powerful tools, that bit of information. So remember to lean back as you bring the back leg forward. Don't stress out the front hip as you find your number 4 on this side. And maybe lift up and configure your blanket. That's not quite straight. That is going to bother me. And this will be our last pose. So again, find your structure, your number 4. My front leg is bent under the straight leg. I'm pressing that straight leg into the ankle and into the foot. And I'm pressing into that heel. And I'm pressing into my sits bones. And into my fingertips, which I just added. Find that height and that breath. Find that space. Find that structure. Celebrate it. It's there for you. And it's there for you as you start to change it up. So even though you've got some change occurring, you still have that old faithful. You have your structure, you have your attention to detail. Take your time coming down. Feel free to change the position of the arms and the hands as you come down. And once you come down, celebrate those foundation points again. Root into them one more time. Visit them again. And then release into them. And spend some time focusing on your breath. Find your breath, find your flow. Maybe do some belly breath on this side as well. And again, the belly rises with the inhale and comes back into the body with the exhale. And the bigger breaths, the bigger the belly. The more time it takes to expand and come back in. And you can probably feel that in your lower back too, because the belly expands in all directions like a balloon. So this is very, very powerful for the lower back. The pose and the breath, and the two at the same time, compounding the effects of one another. Celebrate that flow and the change that occurs in your stillness. So, yeah, you're still, but you're changing too. And as you're ready, you can back off of that breath and press into those foundation points. So I'm really activating my legs now. Really pressing into them. Pressing into my fingertips, walking back. And again, my back feels like butter. And once you come up, maybe stay in this number 4 position for a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and extend that leg out and shake both legs out. And I will turn to face you. And let's find a nice seated position. Find balance and comfort. Find stability and comfort. And then when you're ready, bring your hands together And this is a mudra called the Mirror Mudra. So you take your thumb and your pinkies, and you touch the tips of each thumb and pinky, and then you touch the two halves together, and then you touch the ring fingers. So the tips of the thumb and the pinky are touching one another, and then they each touch each other in corresponding hands. Then the two ring fingers touch, and the middle finger and the index finger are both extending straight up. So it looks like this. Mirror Mudra. And Mirror Mudra, hold it in front of your solar plexus, and notice holding this mudra probably stimulates a nice bold seat. And with a bold seat comes more of an expansive chest, making more room for ample breathing and for easeful breathing. So we'll take just a few more breaths. Maybe close your eyes and feel this mudra. Notice the sensations that are brought about by holding this mudra. Find that ocean flow of breath within you, changing the shape of the seat with each and every breath, changing it in a good way, improving it, bringing more expansion. Notice. And then as you're ready, we'll release this mudra, hands to heart center. May you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice today. And please come back to this video time and time and again. It's a great way to end a day or end a week. I love yin practices. It really helps me tune in. Speaking of tune-ins, please check out our tune-in schedule. We're doing tune-ins the next couple of weeks as the studio is closed. And we reopen in January for our Zoom classes. So check out our roster of classes. I teach on Thursdays from 4 to 5:15, and I also teach the prenatal class on Sundays. And we are also teaching the kids, so I'll be teaching the kids. So check out our schedule, check out our tune-ins. I will be doing the tune-in Tuesday at 6, so I hope to see you there. Again, I'm Jennifer Eubank. Thank you so very much. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and be happy, be safe, and be healthy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merry Christmas. Oh, he's not going to work. He's 20 years old. Bless his heart.